Pantoufleee! Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we are going to try to talk a little bit about all the Defender tanks. As you all know, Wargaming released officially today the AMX Defender, and as a lot of you might have seen as well in the shop, it seems like we have pretty much a lot of offers concerning all those tanks. And before you're getting scammed by the company, I thought, hey, you know what, I got you boys, I'm going to do a video on which Defender is the most efficient one. And to me, of course, this is the Defender MK1. But let me explain to you briefly why I think that. When it comes to the T28 Defender, that has probably the most reliable gun out of all the 4 tanks we're going to talk about here, the main problem is the mobility, which kind of sucks. And having a tank that is both fun and effective implies that this tank has a good mobility, which is not the case of the T28 Defender. That's why we're going to get it out right now. Concerning the IS-3 Defender, yes, it had its shining years and when it was the first Defender tank introduced, because that was actually one of the few or first heavy tanks to be implemented in this game with a 3-shell autoloader, if I'm not mistaken. But nowadays, let's say that it got power crept by multiple new Russian premiums that got dropped into the game. For example, the main example being, of course, the Object 252U. For the AMX Defender that we talked about in the first video I released today that you can check, just in case you didn't see it, that's the video I uploaded right before this one. Concerning this one, let's say that it's a good tank, it's funny, it has its pros and cons, but the problem is it's not meant for everybody. It's only for good players because you gotta have some knowledge of the map, know how to place yourself, know when to push, when to stay with the rest of your team, so it can be pretty challenging. That's why we are left with the Defender MK1, and let me explain to you briefly why this tank is the GOAT through an amazing replay. So there we go with the replay, guys, and even before talking in detail about my playstyle with this tank, I just want to clarify my mind about why this is the GOAT. This is the greatest of all time when it comes to Defender tanks. When you're playing with your Centurion, what I love is how versatile the tank appears on the battlefield. What I mean by that is that if you want to hold your ground and actually bounce shots, you have your amazing turret that features nearly 300mm of raw armor plus spaced armor, which is more than enough at tier 8 for you to be effective and to prevail your opponents from pushing. Concerning the gun, it has a really good status. You have a good accuracy, you also have a good DPM, a good bursting abilities, even if it's not the best, because the award goes to the AMX Defender for that, if I'm not mistaken. But let's say that your autoloader is scaring enough to avoid getting pushed by anything while you have your 4 shells ready. Now, for the final thing, you have the mobility. Your mobility that allows you to relocate, to go in to aggressive positions at the beginning of the game to prevent your enemies from pushing. Let's say that the T28 prototype is a hard crusher, the AMX Defender is a good spotter, the IS-3 Defender is outpassed, and this one is just the GOAT. Now, concerning the playstyle, how do you want to make it effective? Let me explain to you briefly, as I completely wrecked off the tracks of that Tiger 2. First thing first, as you have an autoloader, sorry guys, an autoloader on that tank with 4 shells, what you want to do with only nearly 2 seconds of reload between shells, with that kind of intra-clip reload, you want to focus on tracks of your opponents to perma-track them like we did on the Tiger 2. And if you can combine that with having a nail down position to only show your turret, you should be set up to have amazing games. Now, of course, you need to be careful because, as always, we're talking about an autoloader, which means that when you are reloading, you are going to be extremely exposed. So make sure to stay with the rest of your team as long as you can. But I decided to choose that replay simply because you're going to see it's an amazing game, especially at the end, because we're going to end up in Kolobanov. And it's really important for me to show you how to play autoloader tanks when it comes to dealing to deal with 3 opponents at the same time. As you can see, and you're going to see through the replay, our playstyle is going to evolve based on how many allies we have left. As long as you have allies with you, you can play aggressively and you can hold the line, waiting for your allies to take shots for you, and Most of the time when you're playing support with that tank, you wait for your allies to take shots from your opponents, and then you go out, unleash your clip, and go back to a safe position from which you can reload. But sometimes you also have to push, like it's the case right now. I know we are in a difficult position because we're in a 2 versus 4 situation, and the current 11 is soon to be dead. I'm gonna try to help him as much as I can, but the problem is he's in a 1 versus 2 against 2 amazing tanks, aka the Ice 3 and the RHM. So I always try to anticipate what's gonna happen, and I'm 100% sure that this guy here is gonna die. If I tried to help him, I would have died as well, so I would rather run away to give me a chance to win that game. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We are getting off the battlefield, trying to get some distance to play it like a medium or maybe a light tank, to take advanced position from which we will be able to hold the ground. When you're in this kind of situation, you want to take distance combined with an all-down position. That's what we're gonna try here. Unfortunately, the Panther managed to spot us, so I gotta change my plans. They think that I'm gonna go to the top left corner, which I'm not gonna do. Instead, I'm gonna try to take shortcuts to their base to try to circle or at least avoid the RHM, which is the first one I really want to kill. I want to end up on the RHM being able to kill the boy, but unfortunately it seems like we don't really know where the guy is. I have the information for the Panther, I have also for the Ice 3, and finally there is the RHM. A big mistake I did here, a big mistake. I shouldn't have stopped, and second mistake, I'm reloading my whole clip instead of going straight on the RHM to be able to burst and destroy the guy. It's not gonna cost me the game, or at least it's not gonna cost me the game right now, and we are waiting from this position. Something I forgot to mention about the tank is how good the gun depression is, unlike all the other defender tanks, which really allows you to work on hilly terrains. There we go for some shots on the RHM, and now we gotta go back and go away from that Ice 3. And something I talk about is the armor profile. See, the Ice 3 tried to shoot straight into my turret. If he wanted to shoot at my hull, he would have been able to penetrate and the game would be over for me. But no, he missed. And that's gonna help us quite a lot, and we're gonna be lucky as hell on that S3. We tried circle once again, and this guy eats straight our tracks without doing any damage. Now we only have to deal with the Panther that doesn't seem to know what he's doing, and once again we are trying to find an all-down position from which we can hope to get bounced on. That's why I'm not trying to push forward the Panther. I'm gonna wait for him to shoot one time. There we go for a shot. I go for a second one, and extremely important information. This shot allowed me to understand that the Panther has time to reload when I shoot 2 shells. That's why I decided not to go for my last shell, but instead try to go over from the distance to be able to surprise him around the corner. That's what we do. We're gonna stay here. We are gonna try to use our main strength, aka our armor profile on the turret, and there we go for the Panther. We managed to brain him. We go for a first shot, second shot, and third shot. There is nothing he can do, simply because we have the best all-down position and one of the best tanks to be in all-down with. And that's how you end up with an amazing game, guys, with 5.3k damage and an ace tanker that we truly deserved. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned how to play the Defender MK1, and definitely if you have to choose one tank over all the tanks we talked about here, it's probably the Defender, but don't mind me, this bundle is great as well. If you manage to pull out all the Defender tanks out of a 20k gold offer, it's truly worth it. But I still have something special for the Defender, and I hope you will find it too. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Au revoir.